In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this desk. It's made out of live edge maple. We got black metal legs on it. It's fairly simple to make. You don't need many tools. So let's get started. So I bought this slab from a shop that they were apparently going to start making live edge furniture. I think they actually made caskets as their primary product, and I think they made a few other things. I'm not even exactly sure what all they make. But anyways, they had all these slabs. They were taking up space, and they decided that they were never going to get to using them. So I had the opportunity to buy like 19 of them for, I think it was like $100 each. So I couldn't pass that up. Now, they must have, they were at some point in the process of using these, because as you can see in this one, it has already been filled with epoxy. There's big knots, there's big splits that all have epoxy already in them, and it's just clear epoxy, and it's not how I would have done it. I don't think that they did a bad job. It's just not really my style. I typically I like to fill the knot holes black with black epoxy. Something about it. I like the look. I don't necessarily like doing the clear. So that's one thing I would have done different. And the other thing is the big split on the end. I typically don't fill those with epoxy, or if I do, I also will do like a bow tie to strengthen it as well. So not exactly how I would have done it. And the other thing is they puddled it up really deep. Now, when I lived in Ohio, I had a local shop that I could take live edge slabs into them that were anywhere up to like 42 or 43 inch wide slabs. And they had a planer with a wide belt sander all in one. And so they could plane and sand my boards as they ran them through. I wouldn't have to do any of it. So it saved me a ton of time, because I used to belt sand the entire top, and I'd draw pencil marks, belt sand, pencil marks, belt sand. I just would keep sanding those pencil marks off to make sure I didn't go too deep in any specific area. So I'm going to kind of have to go back to that technique. Now, my hope is this top seems pretty flat. So my thought in this is to get that epoxy down to the flat level and then just palm sand the rest of it. So that's what I'm going to do. And we're going to get started with the belt sander right now. All right, so I sanded the bottom side here. I sanded the top side as well, but I sanded the bottom side, and I like to work from the bottom and get all my cuts lined out. And I also do all my sanding on the bottom, my finished sanding on the bottom first, and then move to the top. And the reason I do that is because sometimes when you sand, the vibrations can cause it to move, and every once in a while you get a scratch from it vibrating and moving around. So I like to avoid having to do extra sanding on the top. So one way you can fix that is by, maybe putting a towel underneath the board. But even sometimes then you just end up getting some minor issues. So that's the order I usually do things in, just to prevent any issues like that. Now, what I need is I needed to get top portion of this to be at least 8 to 8.5 inches, and the bottom, like the desktop portion, needs to be about 19, because my legs are 18 at the top where they mount, and I'd actually prefer a bigger overhang than that, but that's what I have to work with. This slab is only so wide. This is about the ideal spot to cut. So I made a line here. It gives me my space here, and what's going to happen is the TV is going to sit on this part, My son wants to use it in his bedroom as, I think, a TV on the top with his Xbox sitting underneath it, underneath the shelf that this is going to make. And then I needed, like I said, 19 here. So I established where I needed this to be first, because that was crucial. And then I figured out where the widest areas here were, so that the foot of the TV would sit without it falling off. So I got that dialed in about right where it has to be. Not a whole lot of room for error. And now I also established an end line down here. This will be my base for this end. And then I've just made a few pencil marks at my length this way. It may change slightly, but this one needs to be here. This one, I got a lot of extra width up here because of this bump out. So if it isn't quite where I have my mark, that's okay. So the next thing I gotta do is I just gotta cut this. So I want to cross cut this first, and then I would like to cross cut the other end, get my lengths dead on, and then I want to do my rip cut here. And the reason for that is I just don't want to do the extra rip on the ends, because I still might be able to use these two ends for something else down the road. So rather than cut them in half now, let's just wait and do it at another time. So that is the next step. I'm gonna get a straight edge out and a circular saw and make these cuts and move forward. The next thing to do is just measure and get my length. I want 39 inches. I'm gonna get rid of this old mark I have. Let's see, 39. I'm just gonna get a few different measurements. We got a straight edge. We'll double check this. That's 39. 39. 39. 39. Okay. That's where we want it to be. I'm gonna set my straight edge up. I'm gonna cut this. Got my fence set up. I'm gonna rip this. Now I have this cut set to just barely cut through this, so I won't be cutting into my sawhorses. If it does go into it, it's just hitting a little bit of wood, so it's not gonna hit any metal or anything like that. So the nice thing about that is it'll support the piece as I cut through. So now that I got these cut, all I have to do is sand. Now I'm gonna start with 120 grit, work my way up, probably quit around 220, and then I will be ready to put finish on. So next I'm going to just put some finish on using Odie's oil. Supposed to apply it with a Scotch-Brite pad. You just work it in the grain like a circular pattern. I'm going to start on the bottom Just as the bottom. Just gonna work it in. Now we'll do this over the entire thing. You do not want to put too much on. Doesn't take a lot, stretches pretty far. Once I do this, I will let it set for a few hours and I can buff it out and do the other side. And that is all there is to it. The reason I like this product is it really just brings out the grain, makes things pop, does a very nice job protecting. I've been using it for a number of years now with a lot of success. Use it on tables in restaurants. It's very durable, and if you get a bad spot, you can actually just sand that spot out and reapply. So I'm gonna do this on all these, and I won't bore you with me just rubbing this in, but that's all you have to do, and you'll get the result you want. To finish it up, we just buff it out with basically just like a towel, an old towel, but some kind of terry cloth work good. And just buff it. You want to get as much of it off as possible, or it can just, it's just not going to be quite right. And that's all you really have to do, and it's done. Very easy finish. Turns out really nice. You get some real nice depth of grain. You see in this one, real good grain, almost some tiger maple look that is coming through here. So really like the stuff, and I'll finish buffing these out, and then I just need to put the legs on. Hey, I wanted to jump in here real quick and let you know about the Stone and Timber Guild. It's a new community that I created online, a great place, just a hub for you to come talk with other people with similar interests as you about woodworking and things like that. You're going to have access to plans in there. You're going to have access to online courses that I'm going to make, and I'm going to interact with people and just get to know you viewers of this channel, and I just really hope that it flourishes into just a very positive learning environment. So many times you see on these Facebook groups, it can be real negative, and I hate that. So I decided that we're going to start something different that is going to be just something helpful to people from all levels of woodworking. So when you go to the Stone and Timber Guild, there's two communities there. One is free to join. It's called Builder's Corner. In the Builder's Corner, you get one free plan and have access to purchase the other plans of all the videos that I've made plans for since I started this channel. In addition, it's a great place to come and just get to know people with similar interests and communicate and learn. There will be access to other plans. There'll be access to courses that I'm making. So there's ways to expand your woodworking craft through Builder's Corner. The other community is called Maker's Junction. Now that is a paid community, but in that paid community, you get access to all the plans I've made. You'll be able to purchase any courses I made at a discounted price. You will also have a community with like-minded people, and I'm going to be a lot more active in that one. I'm planning on doing like a weekly or bi-weekly meet and greet type of thing where we're going to go live, just talk and I'll get to know you people. We'll talk about whatever it is you want to talk about in regards to woodworking and things like that. I will also be early releasing all my videos to Maker's Junction members before they come out on YouTube. So it's a way to get access to my videos before they come out, which can kind of be an advantage. If I'm talking about something to make and sell, you might get a little bit of a head start on that item before other people see it. So I'm really excited about those. Check it out. The link will be in the description to get to the Stone Timber Guild, and from there you can decide which communities to join. Now, make sure when you go there is a questionnaire that you have to answer before you join. If you do not answer those questions, you will not be able to join either one. You have to answer those questions, or I won't approve it. So make sure you answer the questions, and I really look forward to getting to know you there. Okay, so we're going to set these legs on here. Now, what I need to establish is how far I want them from the end, and then how far I want them off the back side. I definitely don't want it to come up, extend out the front, but I think I can leave a little bit of a gap in the back. That will allow the desk to be pushed back against the wall, because when you have baseboard, the baseboard extends out a little bit. So we're gonna allow just a 1/2 inch here. That will probably take care of most baseboards, but even if the baseboard's 3/4 thick, it's okay, because if this is a desk, you're gonna need some space for cords to come up the back anyways. So I'm just gonna go with a 1/2 inch here on both sides, and I'm gonna come in 4 3/8 from the ends, and that will allow this entire thing to fit in the space that I need it to fit in. So I'm gonna draw the pencil marks, and once I'm done doing the pencil marks, I'll pre-drill these holes and put some lag bolts in. Okay, so I've established exactly where I want these. I got pencil marks. So I'm going to use 3 of these holes. There's 5 pre-drilled in. I'm going to use 3. I'm going to go middle, and then the 2 ends. Have my drill bits marked so that it stops where it needs to stop and I don't drill through. So when I was trying to decide what I was going to do to raise this upper part of the desk up, I looked all over Amazon. I thought about doing little pipe legs. I didn't really want that look. So what I ended up finding was these are like sofa legs, I think. And I think they're going to work, but the only problem is that the brackets I can't set them side by side like this. And so I'm going to either have to stagger the legs, or I'm going to have to do something like this, which might actually work. And then do the same thing over here, something like this. Not sure what the best avenue here is for this. Let's think about this for a minute. So I think what I decided to do was just stagger them like this. This side would have been okay, but the other side, because this bumps out right here, the other side doesn't have that, and it wouldn't fit. So I just got to establish exactly where I want these, make some pencil marks, and screw them in, and this will be done. So I am going to probably going to make it come in maybe about that far from the end. So let's go 1.5 inches from the end. I'm going to I got to make these match. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this one up along the back side like that. And then I'm going to just make it so this hole lines up with this hole lines up with this hole. And it's going to be an easy thing to replicate at both ends. We should still get good stability here. He's going to set up a TV up on here. So this isn't really supported right here, but it should still be okay. Maybe I'll do this. I'm going to move it out a little bit, just because. Yeah. So I'm going to make some pencil marks and screw these in, and we'll be good to go. Alright, so this is definitely the look I was going for, but I have one concern, and that is that these legs have these feet. Now, it's kind of like a hard rubber, and I slightly moved it, and it put a little bit of a, not a scratch, but a little, it just marred the surface a little bit. And because it's not fastened, I know this is going to keep happening, especially going in a teenager's room. So what I'm going to do, they sent, when I bought these, it actually came with 8 legs, and I was able, I tried this out on my extra legs, I was able to take the foot off just by prying it with a knife. And what's down in there is a hole, which is actually what my hope was when I bought these. I thought I was going to be able to screw through this hole, but then I wasn't sure, because the foot actually made it look like there was metal on the inside here, and I thought it was going to be a problem. But once I pried that off, I discovered it'll be fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to take all these feet off, and I'm just going to get it right where I want it, screw it in place, and it'll never move. It should be perfectly fine. I wanted to bolt it in, but the area to work here, I couldn't get a socket in there, and I really didn't want to sit there and mess with a wrench, trying to slowly tighten each corner. A screw will do the job. It's not like it's just to hold it in place. So I'm gonna do that, and then this will be done. So I clamped the block down here so this doesn't move. It's really hard to get into here because of the height clearance. That'll hold it in place for sure. Not the most ideal setup, but you gotta work with what you got. This is a Christmas gift, and Christmas is less than a week away, so I had to, this is the best I could come up with. If the clearance would have been a little bit better in here, I would have definitely bolted those on. But honestly, ideally, would just be getting something like a pin that I could have just tapped down in, and it would have just came up through that hole and held it in place. You couldn't lift it by the top, but I don't care about that. I just want it to not move. So I guess these screws are going to be that option now, since I didn't have a pin that I could use. And it'll work. I want to get the 2 back ones set so that when I screw these front ones in, it can't move. Now we'll just screw the front ones in. It should be good. So here you have it. It turned out really well. Had a few challenges with these legs that hold this upper top up. Other than that, it was easy to do. This is going in my son's room as a Christmas gift, so I hope he likes it. And I'm pretty sure he's gonna set a TV on it and just play video games off of it. So hopefully he gets a little bit of schoolwork use out of it as well, but we'll see. Check these videos out that are coming up on the screen. They will have something interesting that is related to woodworking that I'm sure you'll like. And aside from that, we'll catch you next time.